Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys' Brian Schottenheimer pursuit takes unexpected turn fans will despise. The Dallas Cowboys blindsided fans when Brian Schottenheimer was mentioned as a potential candidate for their head coaching vacancy. Not only is Schottenheimer a candidate, but he's emerged as the prohibitive favorite to get the job. A rumor from 105.3 The Fan in Dallas suggested the Cowboys were readying an offer for Schottenheimer, presumably to make him head coach. Then, Schottenheimer interviewed on Tuesday for over 4 hours. No agreement was reached, but Schottenheimer was asked back to the facility on Wednesday to continue the dialogue. Of the 3 other candidates that have interviewed, Kellen Moore, Robert Saleh, and Leslie Frazier, only Schottenheimer has taken a second interview. The second interview reportedly lasted as long, if not longer, than the initial sit-down. That face-to-face time with Jones is obviously a big deal, so Cowboys fans have braced themselves for the Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport notification. Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, subscription required, understands Schottenheimer becoming the head coach isn't the done deal the masses are making it out to be. Could Schottenheimer be the hire? One long-tenured staffer thinks so, while others in the building remain more confident in his chances to be retained as offensive coordinator, not as head coach, Harris writes. Depending on who an eventual head coach hire would be in the event he is retained with his current role, Schottenheimer has made clear his desire to be an offensive play caller in 2025. There's been so much head coach buzz following Schottenheimer over the last 48 hours that Cowboys fans haven't even stopped to ponder the possibility of him returning as offensive coordinator. While the vast majority of the fan base does not want Schottenheimer as head coach, Schotty as offensive coordinator would arguably be the worse of the 2 outcomes. It all hinges on who's in charge of calling plays. As Harris notes, Schottenheimer has been adamant about wanting to call plays next season. He's been on staff for 3 years and sat back as Kellen Moore called plays in 2022 before Mike McCarthy took the reins in 2023 and 24. Schottenheimer's excellent motivation and people skills paired with his uninspiring 14-year track record as a play caller lead us to believe he'd be a better head coach than offensive coordinator. If the 51-year-old returns as OC, it stands to reason he would call plays. That would all but rule out Kellen Moore as a head coach candidate because Moore isn't taking the job if he's not calling plays. Does that open the door for Robert Saleh, who was the first to interview with Dallas in person, to make a late push? All we can do is to speculate until a decision is made, but Harris offered some clarity on the situation. While Schottenheimer may still be the favorite for the HC job, he is still very much in the mix to be the offensive coordinator as well. Cowboys coach rumor links Rex Ryan with Schottenheimer. No finalized decisions have come from the Star at this time. However, Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer has become the strong favorite to land the job following developments this week. The team has spoken with Schottenheimer twice this week, more than they have with any other candidate. Again, nothing here has come to fruition, but Schottenheimer carries plenty of momentum to return to Dallas in some fashion. If that return comes in the form of a head coach, Schottenheimer will then turn to assembling a staff around him. For a first-time head coach, Schottenheimer will rely on people he trusts and have experience working him. Former New York Jets head coach and current ESPN NFL personality Rex Ryan could be an option to fill the defensive coordinator spot. That would mean Jerry Jones and the Cowboys leadership seeing past Ryan's brash comments from a year ago. Ryan has previously said that he could have fixed Dallas' defense, but the Cowboys couldn't pony up the money to get him there, leaving Jerry Jones to hire Mike Zimmer. Ryan's exact and truthful history in terms of an interview or discussions with the team is not clear. And as rumors float about out there, it's quite possible that Sexy Rexy is the guy triggering the rumors. Schottenheimer and Ryan worked together during Ryan's tenure in New York, with the former serving as the team's offensive coordinator. Ryan would be one of the many hires likely necessary for Schottenheimer to reconfigure this coaching staff, yet a major change heading into next season. However, Ryan's return to the sidelines is far from a guarantee. Multiple reports have indicated the Dallas Cowboys are closing in on hiring Brian Schottenheimer as their new head coach. Schottenheimer interviewed for 4 hours on Tuesday before returning to team headquarters on Wednesday for more than 5 hours, per Jane Slater of NFL Media. It seems increasingly likely that an announcement will happen as early as Thursday and no later than this weekend. We're not exactly sure what the holdup is, being Schottenheimer is the only candidate to get a second interview and interviewed for upwards of 10 hours, but there is no sense trying to rationalize this organization's decision-making. Cowboys fans are universally opposed to Schottenheimer as head coach. It's hard, maybe impossible, to think of a more uninspiring hire. It will be interesting to see how the locker room responds to Schotty's appointment. Well, longtime Cowboys reporter Clarence Hill Jr. hinted he got an answer from none other than Dak Prescott during the latest DLLS Cowboys podcast. Cowboys reportedly interested in former Patriots coach for vacancy. The Dallas Cowboys are being a little more patient in the search for their next head coach than the New England Patriots. While Robert Kraft named Mike Vrabel as Jared Mayo's successor exactly 1 week after moving on from the first-year coach, Jerry Jones is nearly 2 weeks into his search for Mike McCarthy's replacement. Jones has reportedly reached out to former Patriots and Seattle Seahawks coach Pete Carroll, according to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram's Nick Harris. The conversation has been described as informal, although the interest is legitimate enough to be reported, Harris wrote. There are no set plans for a formal interview as of Thursday afternoon. Carroll may have an edge in the vacancy because the Super Bowl 48 champion has ties within the Cowboys organization. Current Dallas offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer was on Carroll's staff in Seattle, and Cowboys offensive line coach Mike Solari held the same position for the Seahawks under Carroll. Jones began his search for McCarthy's replacement with a conversation with Colorado coach Deion Sanders that has not materialized since. Seattle assistant Leslie Frazier, former New York Jets coach Robert Saleh, and Schottenheimer are the only in-person interviews Jones has conducted. Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore had a virtual interview since his team is still in the playoffs. Carroll has 18 seasons of NFL head coaching experience. In New England, he led the Patriots to a 27-21 record across 3 seasons. The Patriots made the playoffs in his first 2 seasons, but after missing the playoffs in 1999, Kraft fired Carroll and hired Bill Belichick as his successor. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Pete Carroll? Leave your opinion in the comments.